It's time to rock. In our third episode of the Genres at Eurovision series, we look at rock entries at the Eurovision Song Contest. But what is rock? It's impossible to define it as a simple genre of music, as it is so broad that totally different sounding songs can be considered as rock songs. But we've decided to take the electric guitar seriously and follow the timeline of progression of rock music by illustrating some of the many rock entries that have entered the Eurovision Song Contest. We can start at the very beginning in 1956. At the very first edition of the Eurovision Song Contest, we find a good example of the up-tempo 50s rock and roll in one of the two German entries, So geht das jede Nacht. Lots of subgenres emerged in the following decade. One of them is folk rock. One of the main responsible acts for its popularity are the Beatles. And while they never took part at the Eurovision Song Contest, another British-based band did. They came second in Edinburgh. The similar-sounding Austrian entry that year, Falter im Wind, also fared well, placing fifth. Another 60s rock subgenre is country rock. And while we had several country-flavored entries in Eurovision, which we will cover in another episode, one of them sticks out for its use of the pedal steel guitar. In 2014, the Netherlands came close to winning with the Common Linnets and their song Calm After the Storm, already a Eurovision Song Contest classic. While no particular raga rock entry comes to mind in the history of the contest, we have had many oriental-sounding songs. An example is the Georgian entry in 2014. All of these subgenres contributed to the development of psychedelic rock, and for that style, we can stay with Georgia. Nika Kocherov and the Georgian Lolitas managed to reach the final, and the crew in Stockholm managed to make their visual performance truly psychedelic. Building from this, we arrive at progressive rock. In 1974, several bands entered the competition, and one of them in particular entered a song in progressive rock style. After progressive, we have to mention glam rock, of which we have had a very good representation at the contest thanks to Norwegian band Wigwam. They seem to have opened up the door to another Nordic rock art, heavy metal rock.
Hard rock, hallelujah! Hard rock, yeah! Rock and roll angels, winged on hard rock, hallelujah!
Lordi from Finland performed what has become the most popular rock song in Eurovision history, Hard Rock Hallelujah. Their victory opened many doors for rock in the Eurovision Song Contest, as we have witnessed in the past 10 years. Here is a short compilation of some of them. Another form of rock that developed in the 70s was punk. And yes, punk has also been present at the Eurovision Song Contest. Alternative rock, disguised as grunge or Britpop in the 90s, or indie and electropop in more recent times, has been a popular subgenre. This time, the main contributor has been Turkey. Turkey's second place in 2010 inspired other countries to send rock entries, like Denmark, who sent pop rock band A Friend in London.
Come on girls, come on boys, it's your future, it's your choice.
Another rocky country to send a song in that style was Georgia. Both countries reached the top 10. Alternative rock also derived in alternative metal, which was represented in Kyiv this year as part of the home entry from Torvald. The song Time finished in 24th place. Other more pop-inspired alternative rock entries fared better in Eurovision, like Soft Engine from Finland. In 2014, they finished 11th. And let's finish with a typical Eurovision style of rock, ethnic rock. Of course, we can name plenty more rock songs, but we hope you've enjoyed this journey through time and rock music. Which rock song has been your favorite? Let us know in the comments.